And we're live. I'm here with Wil Sylvince.
Hey, Felix.
Thank you so much
for being here. What's going on? Thanks for having me.
I just want to first say that I'm truly honored to have you on the show.
You
I told
are?
you this before.
Are you
I
really?
am. No, I swear to God, I am.
I got your email. I thought it was a prank or something, or someone trying to set me up.
And I mean, the entrance to the studio looks like it could be a little bit of a prank.
It looked like a kidnapping.
It looked like, yeah, everybody thinks I'm going to kill them, but I swear I'm not going to kill you. But I saw you, I had known of you as a comedian, but I'd never seen you perform. And then I saw you for the first time opening for Chappelle.
That's the first time you saw me live?
That was the first time I saw you live. And then I saw you a week later at the Cellar again.
Oh, yes.
So, and that's when you took a quick poke at at me and my friend Petra.
Oh, yeah, I don't know her name.
Yeah. But anyways, so
that was a fun night.
That was when you and Dave Chappelle was going crazy that night.
Oh, Dave Chappelle, dude, that dude is a
killer.
Dave, I like talking to Dave or like performing with Dave because he allows us or comedians to join him in conversation while he does stand up, and he just whatever you throw at him, he'll just make it.
It's amazing. Well, yeah, also just the dynamic between bouncing off of you, about him bouncing off of you and you kind of bouncing off of him, and his ability to just on the spot. I've never that is amazing.
Yeah, I mean, if there's a slow moment in a few seconds, it'll be a big moment. David he's a joke machine. He's like his mind must be racing nonstop, like constantly. I feel like jokes or just people who's smart, they're constantly solving things in their head, and they need fuel. Like if they're at home by themselves, it doesn't do them any justice. But they need fuel. So I just throw stuff at Dave, and he just freaking hit them out the park.
The best part is that he always has the same look on his face when he's he doesn't change expressions.
Most geniuses look at Einstein. Einstein had the same look on his face.
Yeah, but it's a different. I mean, you're talking about comedy. You think I don't think you see the guy smile. He only smiles. He has a half smile.
He ain't got time to smile. His mind is thinking about the next joke. Probably 10 jokes. He's 10 jokes ahead.
It's incredible.
And so his facial expression ain't got time, because we got time to think about facial expressions, where he don't have time. He used all his power to think about 25 jokes in the future.
You're right. Okay. Anyways, so very glad to have you on. But before we get started, what's a little something for the people listening that we don't know about you?
Probably that I didn't know what maiden name was for a long time. Not now, but coming up. So I just thought it was my mama's name. I thought that was just a fancy way of saying, "What's your mama's name?" And
then how did you figure out?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know how I figured it out. And you figure with our phones and the internet or what I could just Google, but I was too lazy to just do that. So
how many years until you found out?
Oh, dude, I don't know. I just walked around. You ever someone say a word and you just act like you know it? So
yeah.
You look dumb? Yeah, I would just that's the maiden name. Should she go by her name or her maiden name? I didn't know what I was talking about.
So I first want to get into it. I've watched a lot of interviews with you, a lot of your stand-up in the past few days especially. And what I always like to see is or hear about is the process in which you write your comedy. And a lot of people, talk about you as being an incredible writer.
Who is these people? Is that my aunt?
It's not your aunt. It's other comedians. But we talk about your writing process and how you kind of come and gather your material.
The sad thing is I don't write jokes because I don't want to make them feel like they're scripted, even though sometimes we'll say the same bit. But I try to make them as organic as possible and as real at the moment, if that makes sense. So if you ask me something and you ask me again tomorrow, it's almost like when someone asks you something happened to you at work, and your mother be like, "What happened to you at work?" And you're like, "Ma, you ain't gonna believe this. What happened at work?" Then your father come home. You're gonna tell your father with the newness that you told your mom. You're not gonna be like, "Oh, Dad, I already told Mom. Just go ask her the story." All right, well, you're gonna say, "Oh, Dad, what's gonna happen?" You know what I'm saying? So I feel like when I used to write my jokes down, I used to try to remember the wording and not the feeling. That makes sense. And so I feel like the the more real the jokes are to me, or truer they are, I don't have to remember them because it's true. It happened. That makes sense. As opposed to, because they some joke writers where they just write jokes that had nothing to do with their lives, and I understand they have to write them to remember them, but I try to talk about like what I experienced or what I went through, and I try to bring that feeling back.
And you talk about kind of having or bringing that same energy to when you're telling a joke, and I think what I'm not a comedian, but I would imagine for a comedian who's doing multiple sets in a night, maybe the same set for a week, how do you kind of bring that same energy to every single set, even though, you may be repeating jokes and repeating, some of your work? How do you bring that same energy to make sure that the crowd is going to get the best reaction every time?
You mean, so it don't sound stale?
So it don't sound stale, so it sounds fresh, so it sounds like...
I try to remember the very first time I tell a joke, how I was holding the mic, what my eyes was doing, how my body was, because that newness is almost like any relationship. That first couple of weeks is like, but then it starts to get stale. But if you keep keeping it fresh and remember, like, oh, I was holding the mic like this, I was doing this, and I had this excitement in my voice, the way I pronounced certain words, and so I try to remember that or basically the feeling, how that joke made me felt at the time. Obviously there's some jokes, that they're time sensitive, where it's not, but if you're telling a story about your life, I feel like those are timeless. That makes sense?
Mm. And do you ever physically write down jokes?
Just bullet points, but not like, just so I can remember, because I have a bad memory, and plus, just especially if I'm doing like a TV show, I'll just write the bullet points just so I make sure I hit the marks.
And do you remember can you tell us the first moment you did stand-up?
This place called Uptown Comedy Club.
How old are you?
Oh, I don't even know how old I was. It was a long time ago, like 93.
Okay. How old are you now?
50.
Okay, so that's like...
I'm about to die. 50 for white people is like 95 or something. It's like dog years, right?
Dog years. You multiply by 13. Do you remember the feeling you got? Did you know in that second, I'm going to do this for the rest of my life?
No, I didn't know that. No, I was just happy to be on stage. I was excited. My blood was rushing. I probably took a dump before I went on stage. My stomach was in bubbles. No, I didn't know. It was just something I was doing. I didn't even think I was good at it. I remember the first time I got paid, I was like, you for real? I got paid like $75, to do like a 5-10 minute set. And I almost gave it back. I almost gave the guy, I said, no, dude, no, it's fine. Like, I couldn't believe he was paying me for this. And I kept it though.
Is it ever weird for you that you get paid to make people laugh?
Not no more. Not anymore. Not no more. Sorry. Not anymore. So my past coming back to haunt me. My ignorant past. Not anymore.
And you grew up in Brooklyn?
Yeah, East New York.
Okay. And have you lived here since?
Yeah. Born and raised.
Born and raised, yeah. Ever since. And what's really nice, I think with the work you do, and especially kind of talking about your movie I'm Maurice. Where's that at right now? We're
trying to find funding. Okay. We need to raise $750,000, then we go into production.
So before we get to that, GoFundMe.com/IamMaurice.
Yep.
Go donate right now. But with I was watching the trailer of it. Really good trailer.
Thanks.
People should check it out. It's about, you want to tell us?
No, you can tell us.
You want to see if I do it well? It's about a Haitian immigrant that comes to the U.S. and tries to pursue a boxing career.
Yep.
And in that process is homeless for a while, and kind of talks about the struggle, and how in my interpretation, how some people think in America there's this idea of the American dream for immigrants, but it's not like that at all.
Yes, but the story is more about his fight outside the ring than inside the ring.
Right.
And yes, it's not like that at all. But coming from where he's coming from, you know, no matter how hard you work, there is probably no less or no opportunity where he came from. Versus in America, nothing's guaranteed. But if you really work really hard and bust your ass, and there's a very small chance for opportunity, small tiny chance, and for that alone is worth it. You know, that small tiny chance versus no chance. No matter how hard you work, you're gonna be in the same boat.
And the inspiration behind the name is your dad's name is Maurice?
Yeah, the whole movie is bits and pieces of my life to tell this story. My dad is Maurice, and my dad, just like the character, he came from Haiti with nothing and built his, my dad got a bunch of degrees, and then he bust his ass, got a great job, and then, took care of his family. And so just like the character, he came here with nothing. And my best friend in the film, Patrice, is my best friend in real life who passed away, Patrice O'Neill. The trainer is my real life trainer, Stephen Frank. Check out StephenFrankBoxing.com. The love interest is the first girlfriend I ever had. The antagonist is the first bully that ever bullied me in the 7th grade.
Well, how'd he bully you?
Me, how he bullied me. He beat me up. I didn't have any money to take, but he just. I remember in the 7th we had we was in the whole school was in the schoolyard during lunch or whatever, and they just came up. Him and his boys just came up to me and just started pushing me around, and I didn't know what attention and at ease meant, and he kept saying attention, attention. I'm like, I didn't know nothing about the military at the time. So I'm like, and he kept saying, I said attention. And then his boy came up to me and said, when someone says attention, you stand like this. And he's like this. All right, okay. Attention. I'm like, and then because they kept smacking me in the head and punching me in the chest every time I was messing up. And then he said, at ease. I didn't know what at ease was. I just kept, I thought it was attention, but more intense, and then, and it was like, no, at ease is this. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I learned, while I was getting bullied, I also learned about the military. So it was good and bad.
Good and bad, I suppose. What was your dad's reaction to when you told him about your idea of kind of producing this movie?
No, my dad passed away before any of that.
Before any of that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Matter of fact, I remember toying with the idea of telling him I want to be a comedian, but he was like, "Go for what? Tell a joke? Tell me a joke." I'm like, I'm on the spot. I couldn't. And my dad, I never joked around with. So when he said that, I was like, I guess I won't be doing that.
Yeah, and you talk about also the first time that you kind of went behind your family's back to do comedy, or they weren't or that's not what they had hoped.
Yeah, I was doing it behind their back, and I landed a gig on the Apollo. And my brother said, "Your mom saw you on TV." So the thing is, my mother's normally in bed at 10 p.m. The Apollo came on at 12 or 1 a.m. And so she's not up at that time ever, except to go pee, or if one of us is coughing. She's like, "What happened? What you coughing?" Like, so I remember I was young. I was trying not to cough, because my mother, she'll put Vicks on your chest for no reason. So I would hold my cough. So she's never up at that time. So when my brother said she was up watching the show, I'm like, that was random. Why that show? That particular show, out of all the shows, she never ever watched the show.
Intuition.
Now she's watching that one show that I'm on. And so I was nervous. So I went to the house. It was like 7 of her friends in the living room. They were talking. And when I walked in the living room, they all stopped talking. And one of them pointed at me and go, "Is that the comedian there?" And then I'm like, "Oh, shoot." And then they all just started laughing. I ain't say nothing. They just started laughing. And then my mother said that one of her favorite jokes was one of the so at the time, the Apollo was trying to be more risque.
Right.
So I did this joke. She said it was her favorite joke, and she wanted me to repeat it. I'm like, I never ever cursed in front of my mother, and I would not repeat that joke.
Wow. And were you a funny kid kind of naturally? Were you ever like the class clown?
I was a clown, more like I was a prankster. Like I'll hide behind a wall and scare the shit out of my brothers or people. I'll tap their shoulder. They'll turn around and look and no one's standing there.
Yeah.
Stupid shit like that. I was more of annoyance, like a gnat or a fly.
Okay. And do you remember the first time that you kind of felt like I made it?
No, that feeling still haven't happened.
It still hasn't. But do you think you need that kind of lack of feeling to continue to push yourself?
I look at other people who have so-called made it, but they still working like they haven't made it. So now I realize I don't think there's a feeling. I think is a passion and there's no finish line. Like look at Chappelle. Chappelle, he's like killing it, and he got tons of money. Look at or like Will Smith, who's still making movies, and he probably got tons of money. Damon Wayans, another one. Like these people who's still working like they're hungry, and not everybody, but we could go into the people who like once they made it, they totally fell off. Yeah. But I'm talking about there's a few people who's still doing it like they're still in the fire, still like have rent to pay.
Yeah. Speaking of Dave, as I mentioned, I saw you open for him on Broadway. You did 5 of the 10 shows. Do you have any best memories?
Dave?
With Dave Chappelle?
Okay, Dave keeps telling his story, but I'm gonna tell my version.
All right,
so the first time I met Dave was a long time ago, and so he did the show, and he was going to go. Everybody was nice set, and then I said nice. I actually said nice set, and then we started talking about video games, and I just invited him to my house. Said, "Yo, you want to go home? Go to my house and play video games?"
How many years ago was this?
Oh, this like 92 or something, or 93. And then we came over to my house and we started playing video games. But he made it seem like his story is, I first met Wil. Everybody said, nice set, Dave. Nice set. When I get to Wil, we go, yo, you want to come to my house and play video games? I'm like, I think you missed a couple of lines at.
And what's he kind of like behind? I mean, I could imagine. Actually, I won't even imagine. What's he like behind off stage and in a small closed environment?
All right, Dave. Off stage, man, he's I watch him like he just loves people. He loves talking to people. I think his fuel or his comedy comes from people. So I remember one time he and I was walking somewhere, and somebody stopped him, and for like maybe 20 to 25 minutes, he's just talking to this lady. She must have been like 60 or something. He's just talking to her, and then. When he was done, I'm like, what do you know her from? He said, oh, no, she's just a fan. And I said, oh, you just talking to an old lady for 20 minutes that you don't even know? Yeah. And she was like, and I watched him like talking to people that he met along. And like people come up to him, Dave, I know you're not going to remember me, but we met in 98. And then Dave starts, you could give him a little thing. He remembers people, especially the ones who are interesting or fascinating. He remembers small details, and then the reason I say that because there was one person who was like, "You just saying that," and then he went into details about the meeting. I'm like, wow. So I think one of his gifts is just his memory and his passionate about people, or his. Like he really cares.
It seems also even, the fact that he's not really on social media and it's always, his shows are always no phones.
Because, he likes the moment.
Right.
And that's why when he meets people, right. These are things you can't share on social media.
No, and I think that's a special, like when I went to the Chappelle show, it was the first time that I've ever had my phone locked up like that. And you feel like it's what's so nice is that you know that you're going to be present for 2 hours. It's going to be almost like an intimate experience with you and the performer, whether it's you opening or if it's Dave or it's the band. You feel like you're actually, it doesn't matter you don't have to post it on Instagram to look good. You feel like it's going to be you and that person.
Also, you catch that moment because now you're not distracted because, like one thing that happens a lot now is like people be on their phone and like, oh, shoot, what happened? What I missed? Now you talking to this person and he's telling you what you missed. Now you're missing even more stuff that's happening because the show doesn't stop while this guy explains to you what you missed. And so, and then there's pockets of that. Or when someone pull out their phone, other people see that like, oh yeah, that remind me, I gotta check my messages. You know what I'm saying? So now it's like living in the 90s or the 80s where you're just in the moment absorbing, you know, and
right. No, I agree with that. And what, other than like his memory and that kind of personability of Dave, what do you think as a comedian, obviously making people laugh, but more so, what do you think makes Dave Chappelle so great? His
complex intelligence, if that makes sense. He's able to take, he's really smart, but able to take these things that either there's two things about Dave. Either I always say I could never think of that. That's way. Oh, I'm like, oh shit, that was right there in my face. How come I didn't use that? So there's always those things where he takes the simplest things or the most complex things and make them into comedy magic. You know, comedy gold.
And do you, as a comedian who's been around for a long time now, how do you feel like your own personal progression? I mean, you know, I think the 90s was definitely a different era for comedy than the 2000s, and now, you know, it's almost 2020. How do you feel like comedy has progressed as a whole, and then you as a comedian has progressed as well?
Me as a I'm getting better a little bit.
Well, for you, what does getting better mean?
Okay, so Patrice O'Neal taught me this thing about doing a joke 1,000 times, but making it sound like it's the first time. That, like we was talking earlier, and it's just saying it like, and he's the one that taught me about remember where your eyes was. Remember how you was holding the mic. You know how you was standing. You know, telling that joke. But you know, but you got to pretend like you haven't said it. Like or you know, just pretend it's like as a new person who haven't heard the story or heard the joke. So you got to say it with that same energy, like you're excited about telling this person.
Do you have a same kind of ritual or superstition that you do before getting on stage? What's going on in your mind before you?
I used to take a dump back in the day, but now I stopped doing that.
Why?
Yeah, I changed my eating habits actually.
Really?
Yeah.
How so?
I used to weigh 220 pounds.
I read that. I was going to ask you about that.
Yeah.
You dropped down to 150.
Dropped down to 150.
That's insane. Do you have well, maybe after.
Yeah, I got pictures.
Maybe show me after.
It would just you ever hear people say like live your life, you could die tomorrow? Well, the way I was living my life, I felt like I was going to die tomorrow. I had hypertension, high blood pressure, diabetes, 2 bad knees, bad ankles, a bad back. My back, I had a back problem once a month, never fails. Like it would hurt so bad, even when I inhale or breathe, it would hurt. So I would have to inhale very softly. Because I could feel my, you know, I know where it was, you know, and we blame everything but the foods we eat. You know, it must have been the way I slept. Oh, you know what? This bed gave me diabetes. You know, but instead of what it is the foods that we're eating. The foods that we're eating, it's going to come out more than one way, not just through your shit. It's going to come out through diabetes, extra butt cheek, you know, hypertension, you know, bad vision, you know. So in these foods, that's what it's doing to us. So once I changed my diet, I slowly started healing myself.
So how?
No, so now I live, instead of like live like I'm gonna die tomorrow, now I live like I'm gonna live tomorrow. I know that sounds corny, but
no. And what's your diet like now?
I still struggle with sugar. So that's one of my final fights. I'm a vegan.
You're a full vegan now.
But I'm not an asshole.
That's a good distinction to make.
Like, what the hell you doing with that? Don't step on that roach. I'm not. Kill that roach.
Kill it.
I'm more like a vegan / I want to be more plant-based. My ultimate goal to be plant-based and raw foods.
So you were at 220. I mean, now it looks like you don't have a fucking ounce of fat on you.
Yeah, I got flabby skin probably.
How many years ago, and how long did it take you to go from 220 to 150?
11 months.
That's it?
An average of 2 pounds to 3 pounds a week.
Wow.
Yeah. But when you lose it slowly, you give your body time to retract the skin. If you lose it too quick, then your skin just.
And how old were? That
was 2000. So 2006 is when I made a lot of changes. I changed my diet, changed the way I think about life, and I just asked myself, what do I really want? Do I want these foods, or do I want to be healthier? And that was it. Once I decided, I want to be healthier. So healthier meant I can't mess with these foods. It's like a bad relationship where the sex is good. She fucks the shit out of you, but then as soon as she finish fucking you, she beat your ass. She call your mama a cunt. She steals your money. You know what I'm saying? She embarrasses you in front of your friends, and that's what bad foods are like. It's like it's good in your mouth. That's the sex part. It's so I'm orgasming every bite I take, but as soon as it goes down my neck, fuck you, motherfucker, you ain't shit.
Was there something that prompted that kind of change in mindset in 2006?
It was two things happened. It was like, it still took me some time. I think 2004, I did some show in Colorado, and they put me in a 5-star hotel, and there was mirrors everywhere. And when I'm in nice hotels, I just walk around naked and shit. I be on the phone calling girls. Yeah, you should be here. Look at this, bitch. And I remember I was in the bathroom brushing my teeth, and I looked up in the mirror. Some dude broke into my room, and I'm watching him backing up. I'm like, why is he naked? And it was me. I didn't recognize my back fat. My back looked like a lump of clay. And I was like, and I got so sad and depressed. Those might. And then I just went and I put that robe on that they have. I just put it on. I didn't want to be naked anymore. And I remember I sat down, still brushing my teeth in the bedroom, and the TV was on, and they was talking about some athlete who was forgot who was in their 50s and still looking good, and that's when it hit me. I'm like, I have to. It's my diet. It's like you could still be. It's not age, because I was like, I'm getting old. And I'm like, no, it's not old. Old ain't got nothing to do with it. Is what you put in your mouth that's making you old.
Did you? So then
that was a wake up call. It was working out. Was it just your diet, or do you also work out as well? It was a combination. Number one thing was the diet. The diet is number one thing, because average person work out about 1 hour a day. You're not gonna burn the calories that you're putting in your body in an hour. Right. Especially if you don't have a trainer, you're not pushing yourself. So because for many years I would go to the gym on my own, work out and so mentally I was like, I'm doing the right thing, right? I'm working out. Or sometimes I just walk into the gym and walk back out, and mentally I was like, I went to the gym, right?
Yeah.
And I wasn't doing nothing. So, but the diet is the number one thing. You change your diet, then actually the more you work, the more you eat right, the less you have to work out.
Interesting.
That's my theory.
So then what was like a daily schedule or weekly schedule for you when you're going through like extreme weight cutting?
Well, I wasn't even thinking about weight cutting. I was thinking about more healthy.
Did you have a goal?
I feel like
any goals in mind?
When you focus on weight, it could be from healthy to not healthy. You could do a lot of unhealthy things to lose the weight. But I want to just focus on eating healthy. So meaning I had to cut out these foods, never going back to these foods. I hate when people call it like a treat day or cheat day or treat day. It's not treats. These are poison. Call it poison day, because you're really giving your body poison. So I looked at it like, okay, these foods are basically toxic and poison to my body, and I can't go back to them. So it's just like, will you ever go back to a high school?
No, I won't.
No, I feel like these foods are just like going back to your past.
What were some of the worst foods that you haven't eaten since?
Ice cream. I haven't had ice cream since 2006. I had sorbet, but ice cream. Meat. Gave up meats. I was a pescatarian for a long time, and then I became a vegan like about a year and a half ago.
How is it being a vegan?
Dairy, anything dairy.
How is that? How's your experience being vegan? Do you find it easy?
I'm still feeling out. I thought it was gonna be hard, but it's cool. I've been looking for foods that have more protein in them. But yeah, it's going good.
And then how did you kind of get into boxing as well?
So I realized I always was fascinated by boxing and boxers. And then I found someone introduced me to Stephen Frank, and he was like the best trainer. Like I had trainers, not boxing trainers, just like weight trainer or whatever, and the routine was just like it was boring. We would do the same exercise day in day out, and I got bored, and I wasn't getting any results. And then Stephen Frank came along. I just fell in love with boxing. Now I must say the first 6 months was hell. I was sweating, but I remember when I left the gym, the way I felt. I wasn't sore. I had a lot of energy, and I kept thinking when I was on the train on my way home, I could beat anybody up on this train, because what I went through, they didn't go through that shit. So I love the way it made me feel. My self-esteem, I had low self-esteem for years. So boxing helped me boost my self-esteem up. So the more stronger and better I got, the more I wanted. You know what I'm saying? So I became, it's almost like, you heard of steroids? Jay Okerson told me he understands why people keep taking steroids, because you get stronger and you want to get stronger and stronger, and they keep taking steroids more and more. So I felt like that, but without the steroids. I wanted to be more healthy. I wanted to be a better boxer. And so I found that exercise don't really work. You have to find a physical activity that you like to do and just do it a lot, whether it's playing handball or power walking or whatever. So it's just, it has to be some kind of physical thing you like to do, and just do a lot of it.
And do you have a favorite boxer?
Ali, Muhammad Ali, hands down.
And what about today?
Because outside the ring, he was an amazing person and humanitarian, yeah.
Right. And today, do you have a couple favorite boxers?
Yeah, Muhammad Ali.
But
yeah. Pacquiao, Tyson is still a favorite to watch his clips. And then everybody else is not the same, but it's just fun to watch the sport.
And you said before you got on, you box about 3 times a week?
3 to 4 times, yeah.
And how is that? Is that kind of help you in your preparation? I mean, so you maybe in the morning you box, and then you're always working at night. What's your schedule like?
Yeah, I wake up about 7:30, 7 o'clock. Go boxing like 8, 9 o'clock. Box for about an hour, 2 hours, maybe sometimes 3 hours. Then I come home. I used to ride my bike. Sometimes I ride, not used to ride, sometimes I ride my bike around. Be home by like 3, 4 o'clock. Watch CNN, do some writing, reply to some emails, then head to the city to do some shows by 6, 7 o'clock. And then I'm done at 3 o'clock in the morning. So my right now, 2 of my biggest fights is cutting down the sugar and getting more sleep.
How do you function on 4 hours sleep?
I just make it happen.
And how many nights a week do you perform, or you do like
every night?
Every single night.
Every night, yeah.
Oh.
I never took a vacation. I want to take a vacation.
You've never taken a vacation?
After I finish I Am Maurice, I'm going somewhere.
Yeah, I hope so. You've never taken a vacation?
Never. In this business, there's only, like, it kills me that some comedians who take a day off or go on vacation, we average 20 minutes or even an hour a night. Whereas, when I get up to go boxing and I'm on the train, I watch people during the rush hour. You can see how sad and miserable they are. They need a vacation. They work in 8 to 9 hours a day, and they come home, spend 2, 3 hours with their loved ones or watching TV or eating, then they go to sleep and have to repeat. You know, we do like an hour, like, I need a vacation. Like, no, you don't, motherfucker. Just take a nap. Take a power nap. You're good.
And when was the last time you were back in Haiti?
5 years ago.
Do you like to, what's that like? Do you have family there?
None. All my family's, like, my immediate family's in the U.S., but I have friends there.
And I think what's also kind of very beautiful in a sense is your desire to help immigrants and help people of color be promoted on a bigger stage. And I think through that, through that is I Am Maurice, I think, is one way. And then you've also sponsored by NBC was the Shortcuts Festival.
Yeah.
We kind of talk about how that came to be. And for people that don't know, the Shortcuts Festival is, as I know it, is you started a while ago.
Yeah, 2006.
And it's been either 1 day or 2 days?
2 days. 1 day, semifinals in New York and the finals in LA.
Right. and it's basically a festival that's dedicated to getting people of color on screen and give them more of a platform
Yeah.
to show their work.
That's it. Yeah, behind the screens or behind the scene or in front of the scenes.
And how did you kind of get that together? And where was the inspiration to help?
Well, the inspiration was first to help myself to get my stories out. But then one day I was doing the show at Caroline's where I was showing my short films and doing stand-up comedy in between. And I'm like, this should be a bigger thing. This should be like, we should get other filmmakers involved. So I remember I was just putting together how I'm going to do it. And a friend of mine, Damona Resnick, she's doing her own dating site, by the way. If you're
What's
single and you're looking for a lifetime partner, Damona Resnick. I forgot what the name of her show is, but just Damona Resnick. Let me get her real name. Not her real name. I mean her full name.
And so, how did you kind of come together with NBC? Because it's NBC that sponsors it, right?
Yeah, Damona Resnick Hoffman.
Damona Resnick Hoffman.
Yeah. So Damona called me one day just because we kept in touch. I did an audition for her for a showcase she had, and then after that we kept in touch. And she called. I can't remember why she called me, and she was just say, "Hey, so what you doing?" I was like, "I'm working on my film festival." And she said, "You have a film festival?" I'm like, yeah. She said, "Tell me about it." I told her what the cause was. It's to help to get people of color, on the scene, because at the time it was called Comedy Shortcuts. It was just short, funny films, and then there was a beat. There was like a pause, and she said, "I think NBC might want to work with you." I'm like, "Okay, yeah, y'all should be working with me." Yeah, no, she was amazing. She and then she asked me to send a proposal, and I never wrote a proposal in my life. I know, so I just Googled proposals and I put one together, and I sent it to Mar. The original name was called Blow, BLO with a line over the O, Blow, and it was Black, Latino, and Other Film Comedy Festival, short comedy festival, and NBC was like, "Well, we don't want to go with Blow. It sounds like and also if it doesn't do well, people are gonna be like, that festival really blowed." And I was like, all right. So I just kept it simple. I just called it Comedy Shortcuts. And then we was doing well for 2 years, and then they came back to me. They said, "Hey, we're getting so much submissions from non-comedy stuff, but we don't want to start our own festival. Anyway, we could incorporate, at first I'm like, I don't want to stop comedy, because comedy was my life. But then, I'm like, then within a minute, I just like, yeah, you know what? Yeah, let's just drop comedy. It's called short film festivals." And that was it.
And now, so tell people, can anybody submit their
Anybody
work?
could submit.
Where can they find it?
But this year we took a break. They're doing budget cuts, but next year we're hoping to start back up in February. NBC Short Film Fest is the name, and you could just submit.
And do you have any other than you're working on I Am Maurice, or
Yeah.
Can you kind of talk about that process and what that's been like for you? Because I imagine that's a lot of work, a lot of fundraising, a lot of work, a lot of people to talk to and partner up with. How's that experience been like thus far?
Me and my partner Brian Kennedy, he and I co-wrote this movie. We actually wrote like 9 films. So
Wow.
Once that one is out, then we got like 9 others. So that vacation gonna be pretty short. Gonna be like a 2-day vacation. In
Where's your ideal
Africa.
vacation?
I don't know, somewhere definitely hot. People complain about this heat wave. I'm like, this is a heat. This is regular.
It hasn't even been that bad recently.
No, I mean, and then people get excited like this. Can you believe this heat wave? It happens every year in July. Why you guys are shocked when this happened, or when it's like in February when it's really cold? Like, can you believe the cold? Like, yes, it happened last year in the last 35 years. Like, why you guys are shocked? I can understand like newborns being shocked because they're newborns.
Yeah.
But they can't talk. Sorry.
You're right. So ideal vacation you'd say is?
Oh wait, what was it? That was another question. Oh, somewhere hot, probably Haiti. different parts of Haiti I haven't visited, or Africa. I definitely would like to go to Japan one day. I only travel for gigs, so everywhere I've been to was for a gig, like China, Australia, New Zealand, South Africa.
Do you have a favorite road story?
Okay, I don't know if this is one of my favorites. I don't know if this is the favorite, but this is one that stick out right now. I was in Australia. I was in hold on, let me get this right.
I also saw you did. You've been to China?
Yeah.
You did a set in China. I think I was watching the other day. You've been basically kind of all over, yeah?
Yeah, I was in China for like 3 times already. I love China. They love comedy.
Do you feel like the same jokes resonate well all over the world? Or do you adjust it based on the place you're at?
I'm sorry. My bad. My
No,
multitasking is all time low.
It's okay.
No. Was it Wollongong? Okay, well, yeah. Sorry. What you say now?
Where?
Oh, the jokes.
Yes.
The jokes. That's it. That's what it is. Kalgoorlie. The jokes. I feel like is like when you tell a story. Like some places will get it because they know the background. So you just have to like tell a little bit more to explain. You know, otherwise they're not gonna get it.
And if you have, do you remember your favorite road story? Speaking of Australia,
so I was in Kalgoorlie, WA, Western Australia, and we was doing this tour, the Melbourne International Comedy Festival Road Show tour, and I was the only black comedian. So there's a host, there's 4 comics, and then I normally close the show. Not because I was better than these comics. Chances are because I was just different. You know, I was the only non-Australian, and and that's ain't got nothing to do with So a lot of times it's not because you're a headliner. It's just I'm just last.
Okay.
All right. So I'm last in Kalgoorlie, and every time I do these shows, I come out the whole, like the crowd, like, they're all rowdy or whatever. Then when I come out, they all just get quiet. Like, because some of these towns, they never saw a black person ever up close, So, when I come out, they're like, what happened to the tent? What happened to the, So I come out. So I was in Kalgoorlie. I come out and I go, what's up, Kalgoorlie? And some dude in the audience said, what's up, nigga? Right?
Oh.
And the whole place was like, oh, and they thought it was going to be like, I was going to take out my guns and shoot. But, I don't know what they thought, but they was scared. You could see their looks in their face.
What's going on in your head?
I was like, oh man, I really don't entertain that kind of behavior, but so I just told the dude, I said, look, dude, it's not cool, but I'm not going to, give you any more attention. I just went on with my show. And so I was selling my T-shirts and my keychains at the time on the tour, and I sold the most ever.
Really?
Yeah, I'm like, I should plant an N-word on every show, because they were like, I'm sorry, that's not us. Please give me 4 shirts. Like, yeah, bitch, take 4 shirts. And then I just sold a bunch of shirts and keychains. I actually sold out of T-shirts.
Wow. And how do you, like, speaking of people that either call out or just hecklers in general, how do you kind of deal with hecklers? And sometimes if do you ever get thrown off by, that you walk on stage and somebody says that to you, how do you kind of like get back to equilibrium?
I don't know. At the moment I find or figure it out, like, because every moment is different. So every heckler is different. Every quote that they throw at you is different. So it's like, the more shows you do, the more you could be prepared for it. But you still can't be prepared for everything. So you do your best to try and, diffuse it. Because sometimes, you could be doing really well, and a heckler could come in the middle of the show and throw your whole show off. And I watch, even me, your show start bombing. Like, oh, man. So you got to find a way how to balance that and and not to give that guy or girl too much attention, because either A, they'll think they made the show, or B, they think they could continue heckling, or C, other people like, oh wow, I'm gonna say something too. So you have to find. I had to find a way on how to like shut it down and make sure they don't yabba dabba do again.
Right. Do you still get nervous?
Oh yeah.
Really?
Every night.
Every night. Is it always like the same
It's
feeling?
It's a different feeling. It's still there, but it's a nervous feeling. Like I just don't go up there thinking like I got this. Never. I don't think I ever had that. I got this.
Is it just because that's how
Only
you are?
when I say goodnight. Ooh, I got this. Oh, I had it. I did it. Or whatever the sentence is.
Where do you think that stems from? Is that just kind of who you are?
Probably I just still don't believe in myself as much. Not in a bad way. I just still think every performance you still have to prove yourself. I mean, look, even like the ones who made it, like Chappelle, he still had to prove himself, and probably even more so because of who he made his big name for himself.
What's also so interesting for me is, especially that night when I saw you open and then I saw Chappelle,
It's like night and day.
no, but it's
like kiddie meal and like
no.
a 7-course meal.
No, not at all. Actually, my mom was the one. She was like, I really like him. Like, you should get him on the podcast.
Does she date black guys? Your mom?
She's with the Moroccan man actually right now.
That's not black.
That's not black, but
you know it's black. She'll know, Mama. You know when it's a black person. Furniture will start be moving around. No, sorry.
But what's amazing to me in hearing you say these things is both you and Chappelle. It seems, at least to us, that you're very relaxed. I mean, you're at this point you're a very established comedian. I mean, you've been doing this for over 25 years. You've been on basically all the biggest things you can be on, and I think what's also refreshing to hear is that you're still human. You still do feel nervous.
Oh yeah. It's like a volcano where you see a little smoke. Oh, look, there's a nice volcano, but inside there's.
But once you get on stage, do you kind of settle in?
Probably third joke in.
Okay.
With laughter. Third joke in with all 3 jokes had to have.
Do you think about that a lot, of how the crowd's reacting?
Yeah. I mean, you look. I keep calling Patrice. Patrice is like you don't want everybody to like you, but you still want to be acknowledged and liked, but you shouldn't try and make everybody laugh, because then you're not being true to yourself. But you make a little, like the core people laugh, and that's all that matters.
Do you take it personally when people don't laugh?
No.
Do you ever?
Because it's their right not to think I'm funny. It's their right. I don't want to take that right away. Like, so what? So what? They have a preference. Same way I have a preference. So don't take that away from me. I won't take that away from you.
And I think I also saw an interview recently. Do you get more nervous depending on the set? Like, are you more nervous for opening for Chappelle? Or,
oh yeah, of course. Like,
do you talk to him before? Does he? What's the conversation like before when you? Does he care? I mean, I've also heard, like, for people that have opened for Chappelle or have worked with him, like, he doesn't give a shit what you do.
Oh, that's another thing about, like, versus some other headliners is, like, they'll give you a list of things not to talk about, where Chappelle doesn't care. He wants you to be the funniest, as you could be. He just, and every time I get up, say, yo, how was the crowd? How's the crowd? Like, he's still, like, you could see I'm like, Dave, you care? Like, he cares. Like, he wants to know how the show was. Did they laugh? Are they having a good time?
What's he like before he goes on in the green room, or just is he calm? Is he drinking, smoking?
It varies. He's always like calm, and you could see he's thinking, and probably smoking a cigarette.
And for you, who's now been doing this as long as you have been, what's the next step for you? Do you set goals for yourself? Do you have things that you still haven't checked off?
It is day by day, but yes, I want to get this movie finished. I want to get then probably work on a special probably. I'm not too crazy about it. I'm not too. I'm not like there's some comics that want to get a special out. If it happens, it happens. But movies and stand up is like I just want to keep doing stand up and putting out films and TV shows. I have a couple of TV shows I'm working on.
We'll talk about that in a quick second. We're going to take a quick break because we're going to talk about Manscaped. Support for Where's This Going comes from Manscaped, who is #1 in men's below-the-belt grooming. Manscaped offers precision-engineered tools for all of your family jewels. Will, do you have any manscaping stories for us?
I remember the first time I shaved my balls.
All right, tell us about that.
It looked bad. I got really tiny balls to begin with, like tiny balls.
Okay.
And so it didn't look it didn't look good.
Well, lucky for you.
Why is that lucky?
I got something for you.
Because
Manscaped has redesigned the electric trimmer. Their Lawnmower 2.0 has proprietary skin-safe technology, so this trimmer won't nick or snag maybe your small nuts. Manscaping accidents are finally a thing of the past. Please do not use the same trimmer that you use on your face that you use on your balls. That's just nasty.
No.
It's gross. Manscaped also has the Crop Preserver. You familiar with the Crop Preserver?
I don't know what that means.
I'll tell you right now. It's an anti-chafing ball deodorant and moisturizer. You already put deodorant on your armpits, so why are you not putting deodorant on the smelliest part of your body? Nico, you know Nico White. He's always at the Cellar. Yeah. He went on a great tangent. Josh remembers where he's not a huge fan of ball deodorant. He thinks that somebody who has to wear ball deodorant really needs to reevaluate themselves in life.
First of all, I didn't know that was a thing, ball deodorant.
I didn't know that was a thing before.
I just wash your balls. I wash my balls and I cream them down.
Oh, so they're nice and soft.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think they saw. I don't, you know, but
in case they're not, you can always use the ball deodorant and moisturizer, as I said. And when you go to manscaped.com, use promo code WTG and get 20% off and free shipping. Again, that is code WTG for 20% off and free shipping. Always use the right tools for the job. Will, your balls will thank you.
Are there any testimonials from women?
Well,
ever since my man been using ball deodorant, they're in my mouth longer.
I don't know. We'll have to find out. Well, we'll get Manscaped to send you some.
I got peppermint tasting deodorant for my man's balls, and I do more humming and less yapping. I don't know. That's who we should be doing the testimonials for Manscaped and ball deodorant.
That's a good idea. We'll have to pitch that.
Hey, dudes ain't tasting their own balls or smelling their own balls.
You hope not.
Well, I mean, it's their own prerogative, but still.
Yeah, it's their own issue. Anyways, I want to talk about Patrice O'Neal a lot, and I know you were roommates for a long time.
Yep, I think 7 years or something.
Can you talk about kind of the effect that he's had on your life, and also, you know, personally, and also from a comedic standpoint?
Yeah, I mean, comedy. He just made me think about comedy different. You know, finding your voice. So he told me one time, everybody has a rhythm. You know, you don't have to hear the jokes. Da 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 or da 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 da. He said every comic has a certain rhythm, certain frequency they put out, and then so we was listening to a comic where somehow we muted the sound, but we heard he could tell when laughter. So that's what we muted the comic. Once we got he was doing the rhythm, and he said, "Okay, mute the TV." Da 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 da. It said laughter, and then you saw the crowd laughing, and da 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 laughter. I was like, "Oh shit!" And so he said that he told me the main thing about comedy is finding your voice. He said, like, you could write jokes all day, but your voice is important because that voice is easy to write for because it's your voice. So he goes, we go on stage to get practice, but he said the most practice we get is off stage. So he said, like, the more just practice. I'm paraphrasing. So basically, have something funny or interesting to say about anything. So you don't have to be funny, but interesting to capture their attention. And then if it's not interesting, at least make it funny.
And how does one find their voice in comedy?
You keep your voice is just natural, and it's just like is your the voice that you're comfortable in. You're comfortable in answering anything. And
Do you feel like comedian Will is the same person that's
yeah, more
real
more or
world
less,
Will?
yeah.
How,
It just on stage is just more jokes, because I'm just talking yabba dabba doing.
and you know, you've worked with a lot of, I mean, probably the best comedians in the world. You know, you're on Top 5 with Chris Rock.
Oh, that movie, yeah,
movie,
that was
yeah.
a great movie.
I mean, you know, you're with the Wayan brothers, Chappelle, all of them.
You said the Wine Brothers,
Wayan,
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 the Wayan Brothers. That's new.
That's new. Anyways, yeah, Wayan.
Yeah, Damon Wayans, man. He saw me at a club in L.A. He just took me on the road with him, man. He's he was the first one to actually told me to do anything. 'Cause I remember the first show I did with him on the road. I was very clean. I didn't do any of my like killer jokes. And then I got off stage. He said, "Yo, what was that shit?" I'm like, you know, it's your show. I just want. I didn't want to say like you couldn't follow me, but I just want to be respectful. Like I didn't want, you know, like. And he says no. He said the funnier you are, the less funny I have to be. Because once you give them a show, now I could just go and relax. So he was the first one that allowed me to be me on stage. Like he didn't give a like damn. Like he wanted me to be really funny. And I remember I was so relaxed with him versus like other headliners I worked with.
And do you feel like, for the most part, comedians support other comedians?
Yeah. Most of the work we get is from other comedians. You know, like, I mean, Louis takes a bunch of comics with him on the road. Amy takes. We support, like, we don't take, you know, the mailman on the road. Like, you know, we get a lot of times most of the work that I experience is from comedians.
And who in your eyes are a couple of some of the best up and coming comedians that you have your eyes on?
Oh man, I'm such a fan of comedy. It's just like some of my best is like we'll be here all day. But the ones, I mean, there's like Joe List, there's Mark Norman, there's Sam Morrell, there's Joe Mackey, C. Smith, Sam J, Chris Red. I could go on. There's like so many young comics. Like they're like fire. Like, you know, I'm just like I'm like one of those old school. Like when around these guys, I feel like I'm not even a comic. I'm just like an interviewer or like, all right, the next guy up. You know, that's how good they are.
Do you like to watch comedy on your own time outside of the clubs?
Nah. No. I mean, my time is limited, so I spend it, you know, either working on my scripts, you know, or watching the news, for the most part. Yeah.
And you talk about
when I had a girlfriend, she got me to like a bunch of Netflix shows, and I that's during that time I was watching a bunch of shows at that time, and it was helpful because it allowed me to see. Sometimes you just get too much into your bubble, and then you know I got out of that, so it was cool.
How would you describe the state of comedy today?
I think it kind of sucks.
Really?
Because you got all these bloggers who's attacking everything you say. He's like you can't say anything anymore. You know, like you got back in the days we had like what 5 channels, 7 channels.
Right.
And something hurt your feelings, you just turn to the next channel, right? Or if a newspaper hurt your feelings, you just don't buy that newspaper anymore. And nowadays, you figure we have way more channels, 4,000 channels or whatever. The internet, and so like still people like, you know, like you have more options. If something bothers you, go to something else, go somewhere else. It's like, why do you have to, like, you know, attack every little, you know, everything? Like, I think the PC thing was good up to a point, and now it's just getting out of hand, you know. And then you got these people who just feel entitled, like, or like, and I know it's not you, but like white people calling the cops on black people for no reason. Like, are you serious? You know, like,
yeah,
a little black girl selling water.
No, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
No, you're 100% right. Do you feel like you as a comic has to tailor your jokes or maybe not say something that can offend somebody nowadays?
No, as long as it doesn't offend me, I'll say it.
Does
If it
anything-
offends
does
you,
any-
that's you gotta go home and deal with that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But I try not to like, let me be careful because it might hurt someone. Then you're not being true to yourself. You know, I feel like that's the way we learn. Also, like if I say something wrong, okay, I know it was wrong, and then if I really care about or I have empathy, then yeah, I'll adjust and not say that anymore. But how I'm gonna learn, you know, I hate when someone says something racist. And they got do an apology. That you're not going to change their feelings. They just going to say I'm sorry so they could have their job. It's like let the company feel the way they feel. I just won't support them.
Right.
But
do you feel like, I mean, we were talking about a little bit before when you first came in. I still think in this hypersensitive like PC era, the one place, even when I was at the Cellar the other night, is you feel like. What's refreshing is that you still feel like there's nothing that's off limits once you get into a comedy club.
Yeah.
It's still
another name I forgot. Adrian Appalucci. Speaking of, because she pushes that bar. Like she pushes that. She goes there.
Is seeing other comics like push it make you feel like, oh, okay, maybe like I'm still good saying something like this?
No. It just feels good to see that like people like her is courageous and she's a female. You know what I'm saying? So and she's pushing the bar and not that she don't care, but just how she feel. Like she has a right to say how she feels, like, you know. But it's good to see that that's like she's doing it and don't care.
Do you feel like
don't care about people's feelings that is of
right? Do you feel like as a male in the comic world, how do you feel that women are, do you feel like...
Take your time.
No, I'm curious because, there's always debate in sports and especially in Hollywood of the pay gap and the inequality. Do you see women in the comedian and in the comic world getting more headliners or more time on stage as opposed to back maybe 20 or 30 years ago?
I can't really comment on what happened. Like I comment, like I know for black comics, I walked into this club. Well, I won't say the name of the club. and the guy at the door, or the owner, whoever was running the show, he told me, he looked me right in my face. He said, "Oh, we already have our black comic for the week." And I was like, "Oh, okay." And I thought that was like the norm. I'm like, "Okay, I guess I'll look for a club that don't have a black comic for the week."
Wow.
So being that is not my struggle or fight, I never thought about females having to struggle and fight, or white female comics have to struggle. I just thought, I saw it didn't hit me that, oh wow, they struggling as well. I knew women were struggling, but like sometimes I didn't think it was in the comedy world. I just thought if you're funny, and then kind of find out they struggling just as much or more than men, especially a black female comic, because she's black and she's a female.
Do you feel if you had to give advice for the next generation of comics or a young comedian, what do you think is the best piece of advice you could give?
Don't read your comments on YouTube. don't ignore that, because then it's gonna sway you and try to make everybody happy. Just if it's funny to you and you truly believe it. Like if you're just saying stuff to be mean, there's some comedians who just say things to get the clickbaits, to get more likes, to get more followers, but they don't, deep down inside, they don't believe that. Then they're not true to themselves. But if you believe in that, then fine. Just you'll learn. Either you're gonna learn or not learn, or you will teach us.
What's the best piece of advice you've ever received, as a comedian and as a person?
So many. I don't know.
If If you had to pick, if one that you could
Maybe
remember.
the one that Patrice told me about finding your voice, and or how to tell a joke 1,000 times, but saying it like it's the first time.
Do you do that when you're preparing for to go on stage?
I don't prepare. I just
Really?
I'll figure out the bullet notes who I want to talk about, and that's it. But I try to keep it as fresh as I can.
There's also something that I think is that I really liked in both your sets when I saw the Chappelle and at the Cellar is, well, I'm not gonna give it away, but I think
No spoilers. Spoiler-free show.
No spoilers. But you do. I think there's a part of you that's genuinely interested in where people are from.
Well, wait, maybe that's another advice I got from Chappelle. He's fascinated by people. So when I hear about people, where they're from and their stories, and how's life over there was. So I just love to know more about the world and people.
And do you think, I also, in doing that kind of, again, no spoilers, sometimes when you get on stage just to get to know your audience, do you feel like that also kind of breaks attention or brings you closer to the audience?
It makes everybody more like who's in the house, and it makes it more like a family type of, we're all like in this like the cafeteria where the blacks are here, the whites are here, the Spanish people are here, but now hey everybody, we're all blah blah blah. So it's all kind of like make everybody like chill, and that's when I host.
Do you like hosting? Because right now
Either
you're
one. I'm still performing.
Right.
Yeah, where I'm doing a set or hosting.
Do you feel like more comedians? Do you feel like the way to kind of first get into it is by just doing shows? I've heard, I had Nico White on here who does over 500 shows per year, which is a lot.
That sounds about right for a more average comic.
Really?
I mean, yeah, if you work every night and you're doing like 3-4 shows a night, you're gonna 365 days?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're gonna push 500, 700 shows.
Do you feel like it's a true grind to be a comic, especially in a big city like New York or LA, or do you feel like you can kind of get away with just doing one or here or there kind of open mics?
Dude, I don't know. I know. I just feel like if you're passionate about it, there's no rules. There's no such thing as too much. I did too many shows. No, there's no. If you're passionate, but if you're really hungry, you're out there just doing it. You're not even thinking about. You're not even comparing yourself to. Just comparing yourself to yourself. How, what did I do yesterday? How can I be better than I was yesterday?
Do you compare yourself to other comics?
No. Otherwise, I mean, obviously when I was young, I used to. And then when like example, like watching someone like Chappelle, someone kills, and then he goes up behind that, and then because he's not comparing, he's not trying to do better. He's just trying to do better than the best he did, and that which makes better sense.
Do you have one? You might have touched on it a little bit. Do you have one best piece of advice that Dave Chappelle has given you?
Dave says so many things. I think to not that he given me, but watching him, just how he interacts with people. Like he really he's like a celebrity. Like if you didn't know who he was, he looked like he just part of that group. That part, like if you see a crowd of people, just because the way he interacts, he doesn't have like security like that. He doesn't have sunglasses. Like he can't talk to you. Like he talks to people. He doesn't like pictures because he feel like you just want a picture. But if you're interested, you got a story to tell, and he'll kick it with you.
What do you hope is the Wil Sylvince legacy?
I don't know. I don't know. I never thought about that. Maybe I Am Maurice, if I could get that done.
Speaking of, I Am Maurice, go to GoFundMe.com/I Am Maurice.
Yep.
You can find Wil. He has a great website, Wil Sylvince. That's WilSylvince.com. Instagram and Twitter, Wil Sylvince. Wil, truly.
Sorry, there was not enough punchlines in this interview.
Well, at least now we know your balls are small.
My balls and my penis look like.
What do they look like?
You know those small little backpacks that for like kids? Imagine a grown man with that backpack, right? A big ass dude, big muscle bound dude.
Wow.
So that's what my balls and my penis look like.
Well, at least from this interview, people will know that what your balls and your penis look like.
Yeah.
That's always important. Will, thank you so much for taking the time.
Thank you,
truly honored to have you on the show. And
thanks for having me, man. I'm honored to be on here.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.